Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'm going to be bringing you a deck from the Best of One queues. We're going to be playing a black-red... Oh god, what do you call this one? I guess it's a Drain deck with Mirror March in it, because reasons, why not? So, yeah, we're playing essentially mono-black Drain, splashing only red for a removal suite. So we got Angrath's Rampage in the 2-drop slot, black and a red, to sacrifice an artifact, creature, or a planeswalker. So it's nice and, you know, there's a lot of utility to it. It's nice and early removal as well. I like it. Bedevil basically does exactly the same thing except for 1 extra mana, and we get to choose what gets sacrificed instead or destroyed in this particular case. But yeah, we're kind of a Drain deck, so we've got the usual Drain shenanigans. It's got the Witch's Oven and the Cauldron Familiar combo. If you're not familiar with this, you've probably not been playing Standard, because it's everywhere. 1 mana for a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. And then you can also sacrifice a food to bring it from the graveyard to the battlefield. You combo that with Witch's Oven. Witch's Oven is a 1 mana artifact. You sacrifice a creature and create a food. So what we do is we sacrifice Cauldron Familiar, and then we use Cauldron Familiar to sacrifice the food created off the Witch's Oven to bring back Cauldron Familiar. Rinse and repeat, and it's a Drain forever. I thought I'd actually try and combo this together with Mirror March in a not-so-memey kind of fashion. Mirror March making tokens equal to the number of flips that you win. So you can basically make an infinite amount of damage, theoretically. In practice, it never really works. You do get some pretty crazy turns, though, so we're going for that. But I liked the idea of actually playing Mirror March on turn 6 and actually having an ability to put a creature down immediately. So Cauldron Familiar is free to cast, essentially, from your graveyard if you have that food token. So if we've got the Witch's Oven combo going, then it's one way that we can go about it. It's also a way to survive until turn 6 as well, because we're gaining the life off of it. And we can combo that with a number of things as well. We've got 3 copies of Ayara, First of Locthwain, 3 black mana, and this is the reason why we're only splashing red. The only non-black source in our deck is the 1 of Mountain, which allows us to grab it off of Fabled Passage, should we need it for like Angrath's Rampage, Bedevil, or Mirror March. It's just kind of an emergency button there to have that 1 Mountain. So that is the only land in our deck that stops us from casting Ayara on curve, short of, obviously, tapped Fabled Passage at the wrong time, but... you know, we're not going to count that. But yeah, 3 mana for a 2/3 whenever it enters the battlefield or another black creature enters the battlefield. Again, why we're only splashing red. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So it's essentially the same thing as Cauldron Familiar, except for it triggers off of any black creature. Which means if we have an Ayara and we have a Cauldron Familiar, we're draining for 2 with this particular combo, which is very nice. We can sacrifice another black creature as well to draw a card. So if we've got excess creatures, we can draw some cards. If we have Midnight Reaper out, we get to draw a card and lose 1 life whenever a non-token creature dies. So Cauldron Familiar combo, drawing us a card and losing 1 life, essentially means that our opponent only loses 1 life with that effect. We're not gaining the life anymore, but we're basically swapping that out for card draw, which means we can hit more land drops to make sure that we have the Mirror March on time. We can hit more land drops to make sure Dread Presence does its thing. Again, another reason why we're only splashing red. 4 mana for a 3/3. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. You get to either draw a card and lose 1 life, so Midnight Reaper's effect, or we can actually deal 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. So it's a nice drain effect once again, but it also counts as somewhat pseudo-removal, we'll say. Again, with the splash, it means that most of our lands are actually going to trigger Dread Presence. Blood Crypt is a swamp, as is the basic swamp. The only downside of our mana base is that we have 2 copies of Castle Locthwain to make sure that we can keep that engine going. This does not count as a swamp, so this will not trigger Dread Presence. Fabled Passage is also not a swamp, but of course it will fetch a swamp, so... you know, it's really not too bad. Again, the mountain is the only thing, really, that Dread Presence doesn't go off on, and the 2 Castle Locthwain. So out of our 24 lands, yeah, 3 of them do not trigger Dread Presence. Something to consider. And right up at the top, you may have noticed there's a Command the Dreadhorde. feel like this is probably a win more card, but it is an awesome win more card that I want to try out. 6 mana for a sorcery. You get to choose any number of target creatures and or planeswalker cards in graveyards, and then Command the Dreadhorde deals damage equal to the total converted mana costs of those cards to us, and then we put them onto the battlefield under our control. If we have a Mirror March, for every creature that enters the battlefield, we're going to trigger Mirror March, which is cool. So we can take cards out of our opponent's graveyards and potentially Mirror March trigger them. We also have kind of free cards, as it were. Cauldron Familiar is effectively free, gaining us 1 and draining our opponent. Then we also have Ayara as well. If we bring this out, it's going to basically cost us 2 damage, and every other creature that enters gets that drain trigger, so there's a cost reduction on those as well. This effectively costs us 1 damage, the Fenlurker, which can be used to slow your opponent down as well, because the 2 black mana 1/1 allows us to exile a card from our opponent's hand, so they get onto top decks sooner, which is where we want them, because we have a fair amount of card draw. We want the card advantage over them, we want to make our land drops, we want to have all the removal when the time comes. So Fenlurker is very useful. It's also just a nice sacrifice target to things like Ayara, Witch's Oven, and, you know, turn 1 Witch's Oven, turn 2 Fenlurker, and turn 3 Midnight Reaper, sack Fenlurker is a perfectly acceptable line of play to make. I like it a lot. Finally, we got 3 copies of Murderous Rider. Again, just more removal. We really just wanted all of that removal, but it also doubles down as a creature which can be triggered off of Mirror March, a 3 mana 2/3 with lifelink. It's pretty good. But yeah, killing creatures or planeswalkers should hopefully allow us to stabilize into the late game and not die very early on. The one thing this deck is lacking is mass removal. You know, Standard doesn't really have good mass removal in red and black. It has a few pieces like Cry the Carnarium and Ritual of Soot, but unfortunately those kind of hit all of our cards, so it's probably not worth running in my eyes. I think I'd rather just take those matchups as losses and run with it. Most aggro matchups should be probably pretty even. Since we've got a drain deck, we're gaining lots of life. In theory, we should actually do just fine against those kind of decks anyway, so we'll see. If you guys enjoy this kind of deck and you want to see more of it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and without further ado, let's show off some gameplay, shall we? I hope you enjoy the matches, and I'll see you at the end. Alrighty then, we're in, and this hand is slow, but I guess fine. It doesn't have cat combo in it, which is basically an auto-keep hand, should I say. Yeah, I don't see too much wrong with this, honestly. It's full of removal. You can get some card draw with Ayara going potentially as well, so yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And red presence. Well, I'm going to go with Blood Crypt tapped for now. I don't really want to thin my deck as it stands, because I do need that 3rd land, so increase my odds of drawing it this time around. It's Chandra Tribal. How do we fare against Chandra Tribal? I really don't know. But there's a good old Regulator right there. It is a sweet card. I love Chandra Tribal. So this time around we do want to crack the Fabled Passage, although it does actually decrease the odds of us... No! Exiling my kitty. Although it does decrease the odds of us drawing a land. If we draw a 3rd land, then we've got plenty to do. Unfortunately, Witch's Oven's not a great draw anymore. Well, I guess it is. Because if you just draw more cats, then you're in a lovely position, right? Mirror March. Oh boy. Deck doing its thing, I guess. Deck is doing its thing. Right, well, let our opponent do whatever they want. I guess we're just going to lose 5 cards, 4 cards, 4 lands. Yeah, there's no way they don't have Chandras here, so this one can produce lots of mana to play more Chandras. So we do need to kill that. To be honest, we just need to kill all the Chandras. We're minusing for 2 mana. Oh, just to regulate. Interesting. It's probably a decent play. And then they got a shock in hand, because they're holding 1 mana. Although I guess does the game do that all automatically? Hold floating mana for you? I think it does, right? Maybe. We'll just assume one of those is a shock anyway, because we know that they're running them. Because there's one right there. Alright, well, with that in mind, where do we want to go? Could do Midnight Reaper if they do have the shock. It's just a redraw, which is perfectly fine, because that can lead into Dread Presence. Or we can go Ayara first. It doesn't die to shock, and it also gets the drain from both Ayara and Midnight Reaper. I guess that's probably just fine. We'll bedevil the big Chandra that comes out next turn. Hopefully there's not too many Chandras coming out next turn. I don't really like our odds of winning this game anyway after missing our land drop. You really, in Standard right now, cannot afford to miss a land at any time. Ooh, Chandra minus twice. Cool. Totally fine with me.
I hope you can't handle the heat.
Alright. And passes. Ooh, it's Castle Lochthwain as well. Okay, well... yeah, I think it's time to take Chandra Novice Pyromancer off the table. Could also use it to get rid of the Regulator as well, but... yeah, she pings off all my creatures, and I'm not a big fan of that. I like the idea of getting Dread Presence down and playing a Swamp next turn. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, there's the shock being discarded that we assumed was in their hand. And let's see, discarding another mountain. Must be flooding like crazy. Another Novice Pyromancer. Boo hiss. We kind of just helped them.
They sounded tough.
Ooh, there we go. Alright, so Dread Presence. I could actually use this to draw a card, because then if we can get Mirror March going, we can potentially do these things with Mirror March triggers. I actually think I'm going to draw a card. Yeah, I want that swamp. So even if they kill Dread Presence now, we get down Mirror March, and then we get to do Rider or Reaper. Aren't they both technically Riders?
Won't lie.
One's Midnight-based and the other's Murderous-based. But this is a lot of damage. These two are a terrible combo for us.
Don't worry. I brought company.
And we are forced to actually interact with them. So they all get +4. Plus O. Unless you don't...
hug all those fire critters.
Huh. Unless you don't activate twice. Which is very strange, but I can't really afford to take all this again, so... just get that off the table now. And then Murderous Rider, the Acolyte of Flame, and hopefully they don't add more to the board. So kill the one that's able to deal me lots of damage. It's possible I could have kept the Murderous Rider around. I don't know, though. I'm not sure going down too low is necessarily a good idea. Let's go with Midnight Reaper. I think Murderous Rider's a better Mirror March target, if we can make that work. And if they kill this, then we just get redraws, so happy with that. Short of Scorching Dragonfire or whatever it's called. Scorching Dragonfire. Yep, there we go. It's probably for cat combo specifically. It's decent enough tech, I suppose. Chandra Fire Artisan. We need a Bedevil for that, because I cannot afford to take the damage. Well, whiff on the tick up there, which is good for us. Gonna kill the Midnight Reaper. Okay. So we get to draw and lose one. Losing one less than ideal, of course. Oh, Murderous Rider. There we go. That's not bad. What happens if I don't kill Chandra Fire Artisan here? We increase the odds of them getting 3 mana Chandra, which would kill us. If they top deck it, it's just going to kill us anyway. My other alternative is just playing Mirror March and hoping for the best. Which is never really a good plan with Mirror March. For sure. So I could Rider, play Rider. Or I could March. Virtual 5 if I Rider. I could wait on it. Potentially. Let's march. We're here to march. Let's do marching. Yeah, you bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? So we could do like double rider with a mirror march art now, which is pretty cool. Double rider, or we could do a 2-drop or a 1-drop, so Cauldron's Familiar or Fen Lurker. Potentially emptying their entire hands. They really have flooded. That's so good for us. Ticks up with Chandra. Activating as well. Yeah, we're dead. They were going to hit it on their first one, so it means they were going to top deck it and we were going to lose anyway. So Chandra Acolyte of Flame makes some elementals, doubled with the regulator, and then Novice Pyromancer gives them +4/+0 off the doubled regulator as well. It's a cool combo, I like it. I do have some Chandra tribal videos if you are interested in watching them. I like this deck. Played it during the streamer event, and it it almost went entirely undefeated, I reckon. I think it was. Yeah, it's a fun deck to play against. Fun deck to be beaten by. I'm glad that we were defeated by this and not some tier 1 trash. So let's go for another game. Okay, double Cauldron Familiar. Sure, it's 1/2 of a cat combo. Can't go too wrong with that, and we've even got Midnight Reaper, so we can potentially get some value off of that. Really don't like the fact that I have to shock myself, but here we are. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm running a degenerate combo even I do not like. So we can trade off with the Ginger Brute here if we really have the opportunity, or they might go for like an All That Glitters. Looks like neither. Alright, well, it's going to be Fabled Passage, Cauldron Familiar. Gonna have to shock ourselves to play Midnight Reaper, unfortunately. But Ginger Brute does have an activate ability here to be not blocked by anything except for creatures with haste, which we don't actually have in our deck. So Ginger Brute can be unblockable if they have something like All That Glitters, which it definitely looks like that's what this matchup is about. Some lifelinkies, okay. Alright, so we are going to go Kraken for a swamp. We want our 3 black for when we get Ayara. Fen Lurker. You know what? I could take a turn to play that. We take a card out of their hand, which is hopefully going to be a tough choice for them. Then we can play a Blood Crypt tapped and we don't have to shock ourselves in a matchup where that actually might be relevant. That was an Angelic Exaltation. Cool. Cool. Alright. And then pass. Now we're going Midnight Reaper, potentially. Might even want to get down the Dread Presence. It depends on what they've got here. If they can pump that Ginger Brute up high enough. I'm going to let all this damage through. I can afford to at this point. Go down to 13. And they can't afford to Dawn of Hope. Command the Dreadhorde. It's a thing, alright. Yeah, we're going to go Midnight Reaper. So our bad blocks are now going to at least draw us a card. Go back to not attacking. We should hopefully have the long game short of Ginger Brute making this Nightmare Fuel. Alright, so we can block with Midnight Reaper. Ginger Brute is going to be unblockable. And then we can double block on the Soldier token. Let's see if they want to come through with it. This is going to allow us to draw a lot of cards. So, get that off the board. Get that off the board. Unfortunately, Ginger Brute, unblockable. So, we're going to go with that. Draw 3 cards here. I'm basically weighing up the value of Dread Presence in this particular case. Since I can actually play a Swamp off Dread Presence and just kill Ginger Brute or anything else they might have. The Devil's very nice, as is Witch's Oven. Honestly, that is a combo and a half of cards to get. So let's kill Ginger Brute now. Enough of the unblockable nonsense. And then we'll go start with our cat combo as well. Let's go with the... does it really matter? I guess I'm going to go with the Swamp because I do actually want to draw lands with this hand. So let's get Witch's Oven out there. Let's get in for one. And then we can crack it and bring it back as a blocker if they do have something like Ginger Brute and some way to pump it up. Sir Alan. When it attacks, other creatures get +1/+1. First time ever seeing that card on Magic Arena. I've seen it in the deck builder. I have never seen anyone dare play it though. And I'd like to think that's with good reason. So, Dread Presence. Let's play Fable Passage and crack for a Swamp. I guess I could actually just wait on that if I want to ping. It is true. Yeah, I'm going to go for a ping to the face. We're blocking Sir Alan with a Cauldron Familiar anyway, so that damage isn't getting through. Command the Dreadhorde actually gets me back 3 creatures and a Ginger Brute from theirs, if we draw that next land. So I was considering Dread Presence drawing me a card there, but this is perfectly fine. And then Dawn of Hope can make a token. Alright, well, cracking Cauldron Familiar. It's one of the main reasons why this combo irritates me, so apologies to my opponent that I'm putting them through it. Come on, Swamp. Swamp would be lovely. Yeah, Cauldron Familiar with the Commander Dreadhorde is free. Unfortunately, we don't have an Aara, which would make this a little bit more effective. Come on, opponent. It's not that bad. Thank you. It's pretty bad, but it's not that bad. Alright, well, there's a Swamp. So I think we're just going to hit the Venerable Knight so there isn't multiple things to worry about. Gains us a bit of life, so the Commander Dreadhorde is going to be more effective. And then we can even bedevil the Sir Alan now as well. Might as well. Go, Sir Alan. Midnight Reaper means Cauldron Familiar sacks will now draw me a card. Let's get in for 4. Really want to find that Mirror March. Block Cauldron Familiar if you like. Choosing not to. Okay, well I am going to sack and block. I'll be perfectly happy to do that. So they get in for 2. I will sack my Familiar. This line does leave me without a food, but I'm not really going to be that bothered. I'm probably just going to sack my Dread Presences and whatnot. Just get them back with Command the Dreadhorde if I really wanted to. Bring back Cauldron Familiar. Honestly though, if I draw a land, it's just going to be Dread Presence, double triggers, and just absolutely laugh my way to victory from that point forward. Alright, so we draw a card, our opponent has to pay to draw a card. There's a Swamp. So anything they play is going to die. Yeah, that's dead. So we play Dread Presence. We crack Fable Passage for the Swamp. Then we send 1 point at Healer's Hawk. Or 2 points at Healer's Hawk, shall I say. And then 2 point at our opponent face, maybe? We'll see. Actually, I might draw a card with the other one. Card advantage is definitely winning me this game right now. And yeah, I guess I'm happy with that. Can get in for 6. They can make a token. It's going to die if they block. So is Midnight Reaper, but I will crack it for the Witch's Oven. They won't gain life off of that. Yeah, I think our opponent's pretty much done because they missed their activation on Dawn of Hope. Yeah, oops. The heart's definitely not in it this time. Alright, let's just Murderous Rider. Yeah, they've had enough. It was pretty one-sided once we'd stabilized. Interesting idea from our opponent. I was kind of expecting it to be an all-it glitters deck with the Gingerbrew, but actually turned out to be mono-white aggro, which don't think is necessarily well-positioned at the moment, but what is, you know? What is? Alright, well, let's go for another game. Alrighty then, we're in, and cat combo. That's all you need to know. These two cards, if it was a 3-card hand, this would be nuts. Keep. Even got a Fenlurker we can play around with. Timing on it don't quite work. Oh my goodness, is that a Mirror March I see? I like. Alright, let's go with the Cauldron Familiar, so we can attack with it. Get them beats in, hopefully. No! Rude. Okay, well, I guess that's why you don't lead with Cauldron Familiar. Because Glass Casket is playable. Well, Fenlurker. Screw you, opponent. I can play at this game. Well, next time we can play Midnight Reaper, and we can even just like Witch's Oven. That was a Clockwork Servant. We're living our best life right now. Alright, let's get Midnight Reaper in there. Hopefully we can dodge another Glass Casket on that one. But next turn we can Witch's Oven, crack Fenlurker. Arcanist's Owl. So yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those blue-white all-it-glitters kind of decks. More Mirror Marches. Would love to be able to actually Mirror March this game. I need a hero. Alright, well, I think we're just going to kill the Owl. It's pretty much cost us 4 life to do this, but we get 3 points in. And I imagine not killing that Owl will cost us more than 4 points of life anyway. Boo, hiss. Perfectly timed caskets. I hate it. Alright. Dread Presence. We will wait until we have a swamp in our hand to play that so we can get immediate value. What do? You draw a card? Alright. All these X3s when I've got Dread Presence. Tilt. Golden Egg. Alrighty then. Well, now we're playing a Dread Presence, because there's really no reason not to. We need to do something with our turn. And it can't be Glass Casketed, so that's cool. Alright, pass the turn. Come on, Mirror March. March me daddy. Are we just going to Servant? Play a land drop for the turn? If we don't have a land drop, are we going to egg first to find said land drop? My god. The emotional thrill ride of finding out. Cute. Alright, it's Servant time. And a land drop. Are we egging as well? My god. What a life they live. Come on, Swamp. I think what I'm going to do if I get a Swamp is probably, I feel like drawing 2 cards so we can Mirror March. Obviously I get to kill any creature I want with a double Dread Presence, but I don't know. I like Mirror Marching. There we go, there's a Swamp. So, Blood Crypt. We'll go to 11, we'll draw 2 cards. Next turn we can Mirror March. We might draw another land, which means we can do it next turn. Let's draw 2 cards. Familiar, that's good. Lockthwain, good. Pass, great, awesome. Yeah, Cauldron Familiar with our Mirror March is going to be cool. Making our land drop for the turn is cool. It's a shame it's not a swamp. But, you know, do what we can. Golden Egg, draw a card. I would still like a swamp off the top. 3 damage. Alrighty then. Come on, Swamp. Swamp means we can kill Owl, gain 4 life. Buys us enough time to play our second Mirror March, and then we can do like Cauldron Familiar comboing. And whatnot. We actually have Command the Dreadhorde as well, so we could work some stuff into our graveyard. If we have the life total to work with. Alright, so Emery has Witching Well and Arcanist's Owl to work with next turn. That probably needs to die. Come on, Swamp! It's another Mirror March. Alright. What time to be alive. Don't you dare have enchantment removal. Even if you do, don't you dare be the one to remove it. Alright, I guess we're not attacking. We want to keep that board state clean. If I do have to attack, then I've got my Murderous Rider to give me a little bit of life, I suppose. Gaining some life. Alrighty then. If only I had a Cauldron Familiar. Still want that Swamp. Swamp means I can Mirror March plus Cauldron Familiar, and then I can do it combo style as well, which will be insane. Oh lord, it will be insane. Please. Vantress Gargoyle, that's a lot of damage. Can it attack though? Can't attack unless I've got 7 or more cards. I have 1. It cannot attack. It can block with 4, right? It can block with 4. Okay, moment of truth. Here we go. Ayara. I think we gotta go for it. I think we've got an Ayara. First one's always bugged, so it's fine that it legend rules. And then we'll play Cauldron Familiar. And we'll get that triggering, hopefully. So we drain. Mirror March goes. Fails. That's fine. It was legendary anyway. Cauldron Familiar goes. Drain 2. Mirror March triggers. Got a few. Alright. Drain 4. That's what we wanted. We will then sack this Cauldron Familiar so that we can bring it back and do it again. Come on. Give me that life. Well. Extra life. It's fine. Alright, we're at 16 suddenly. I like it. Swing with our tokens, because there's no reason not to. Probably just want to get the Dread Presences in there as well. Yeah, let's do that. Gargoyle can't block, so anything that blocks Dread Presence other than the Corridor Monitor is going to die. We did the thing. Okay, they want to make sure Dread Presence dies. I respect that. Alright. I want to make sure your stuff dies anyway, so this is fine. They're at 4. We end the turn. Our tokens die. Next turn we can play Mirror March, and then we can sack the Cauldron Familiar. And we can do it all over again. Or we can command the Dreadhorde and see what happens. I like that option as well. Let's see how much life we've got left at the end of this turn. We'll have a big Dreadhorde. Please do not scoop. Let me do it. The trigger on AR is unfortunately just going to kill our opponent. But, you know, it'll be fun to watch. I'll make sure to hopefully stack the triggers on Ayara so that the dying part happens last. And then we'll see if our opponent's willing to see what happens from there. Clockwork Servant. Draw a card. Glass Casket on Cauldron Familiar. Or are we going for Ayara? Ah, that's a big mistake, my friend. Big mistake. I'm coming. Swamp off the top? That'd be lovely. So we got Dread Presence, Fenlurker, And then there's also Arcanist Owl and Brazen Borrower. It's not a great collection of things, but the drain is enough, I think. Alright, so we're taking 3. We got 13 life to work with. And draw a Fenlurker, which we don't have the life to cast. So, only triggers off of black. So that's 4, 8, 9, 10. So grab those. Yeah, just leave it at that. Submit. If we get even 1 token, we win. And, yeah, triggers to the bottom of for Ayara. Here we go. Here we go. Dance of the Manse goes from the Fenlurker trigger. Mirror March. Whiffs. Mirror March. Whiffs. I'm going to die. Mirror March. Oh, thank Christ for that. Oh my god. Ayara to the bottom. It's Fenlurker as well, so we strip our opponent of cards. Oh god. I was really worried there for a second. Oh, I think we would have survived just on cards alone, but still. It would feel like we died. For sure. There's 4 triggers. They're going down to -1. Could have been a lot more exciting, but here we are. I was hoping to go with the Witch's Oven and Cauldron Familiar plan again, but those glass caskets, man, they just kept getting us. I could probably have sequenced them in such a way where they couldn't get me, but here we are. We won, so who cares? Let's move on for one more game. Alrighty, we're in. I'm not happy with this hand, to be honest. It's got Witch's Oven, which is cool. Angrass Rampage can be hit or miss. I'm going to take the mull on that one. This one looks much better. We got Cauldron Familiar, Ayara for a little bit of extra drain. I think I'm putting Dread Presence to the bottom. It's a little bit awkward. So let's lead off with Cauldron Familiar. And yeah, we've got a Blood Crypt tapped, so not too shabby on that one. Grim Initiate, so we are up against Cavalcade. Alright. Alright. Don't know how we fare against this one. I imagine we just lose. At least we have like Devils, and we do have some drain effects, so it's not all bad. Excuse me. Well, I'll take 2. Alright. Castle Lochthwyn. And we'll go with the Ayara for now. Get a drain. Swing in. Pass the turn. Ayara does not live through this turn. Not a chance in hell. I'm not going to block though, because I actually open up a shock and I want better removal from them. Skewer the critics or something, or even a 2-for-1. I'm happy with both. Wow. That actually happened. Interesting. Alright, well, I'm gonna play a Swamp. Gonna play a Midnight Reaper. Gonna drain my opponent. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna could swing in with a Familiar. I don't think they block. I'd rather threaten the block for the Scorched Spitter's sake. I draw a card when I block with it, and I can also sacrifice it with AR and draw 2 cards instead. There's a Dwarven Mine. Okay. Yeah, kind of expect an all attack here. So I'm going to start offering some cards up to our opponent. So we're going to block with the Midnight Reaper here, and we're going to offer the trade here. And could actually go with the AR, but I think she's the most important one on the board state right now, since she's got a nice booty. And she's also gaining me life and draining our opponent, which I think is pretty good. So let's see what our opponent wants to do here. Kind of forcing them to act upon this turn. Ember Cleave. On Thunderkin Awakener. Ember Cleave in this Cavalcade deck. It's interesting. I'll give it that. You got more? Infuriate. What? Oh, that's a stinger. Okay. Well. Well then. We got Witch's Oven. That's cool. That's cool. Cauldron Familiar. Drain for 2. Drain for 2. Play Witch's Oven. This is an elemental, isn't it? It is. That's a thing. Alright, well. Make them sack an artifact. Goodbye, Embercleave. And pass the turn. Yeah, we're going to start doing the Cauldron Familiar shenanigans now. Check in for Thunderkin Awakener targets, whether or not it's worth getting in. Says to me that they don't actually have a way of bringing back Awakener, so they're kind of weighing up the potential of this being a good attack. So I'm going to block with my Ayara on Thunderkin Awakener. And we'll just chomp there. Maybe they just have more Embercleaves and Infuriates. Would also just make a hell of a lot of sense, I suppose. What do we want to do here? So, I think what we want to do is we want to crack Cauldron Familiar, because I need to draw some cards. And then we're also going to crack Ayara to the Witch's Oven, which makes some food and allows me to bring back Cauldron Familiar. We're only taking one. And yeah, let's bring it on back. That's an amazing draw. How about we just start killing everything our opponent controls? Seems good. Seems good. Pass the turn. We're at 10. Our opponent drew a land. They basically lose. Alright, Cauldron Familiar. Bring it back. Sack Cauldron Familiar. Leave it in there. Yarok's Fenlurker, get rid of that card in hand, and also make a basic 3/3 to block Griminish. So, yeah, good spot to be in. I guess I could actually just swing in with Red Presence. I got good blocks anyway. So yeah, they can amass that token. It's kind of the most annoying part about that card, and it's already out of the way. Go for it. Yeah, I think I win now. With a very unorthodox Cavalcade deck, which I think loses just because it's unorthodox. Punishing our opponent for trying new things. Alright. That's dead.
Anyone need a fire started? No? Too bad.
So, answer that. Opponent can make some elementals, however temporary.
These little guys are great!
And I will bring back my Cauldron Familiar. I will trade off there, except for I'm gonna sack the Familiar. Guess I should have done it the other way around, since this token can actually be a 2/2. Crazy, I know. It's powerful stuff. Alright, and now because we plan on attacking, I'm gonna do that on their end step. Swing for 4. And pass. Got a blocker, got a sack target. Game is over. You cannot win, and I think this is a I'm going to attack kind of scoop play, because if they infuriate, they waste a card. They get Embercleave. No, this is a waste of a card. So all I have to do is just go boop. Waste of time. You're down to 5, and now you are dead. Could even lock Thwain as well. Lose 1, draw a card. It's a rampage. And yeah, there's lethal on the attack, as well as a Fabled Passage being a swamp for an extra 2 damage and gaining 2 life. Yep, okay. Opponent playing Cavalcade. Embercleave was a terrible surprise. Didn't see that one coming, so props to you, opponent. You surprised me. Alright, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It is a doozy. It's actually performing a little bit better than I expected, to be honest. I managed to build it at first, and it was pretty garbage. Built it in Historic, and, you know, the power level's too much for this deck. And I used to have 4 Mirror Marches, but drawing multiples of them is not great. I like to have maybe 1, 2 max at that point, so, you know... a few tweaks and I managed to get this into a decent position. It's a really fun deck. I really recommend you guys checking it out. It's not going to win you any tournaments or anything like that, but this is what my channel's all about. It's building decks that won't win you tournaments. Good stuff. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you did for more content like this. But without further ado, I'm going to end it off here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.